releasing how somebody had treated me in the past, but it was weird because I was more connected to it through watching this individual treat other individuals that I cared about in a certain manner. And there was this whole time period where I was like, I know that everyone is deserving of unconditional love. I know that abusers have been abused. And the more I looked into it, the more I also realized that while they were accused of having a sharp mouth, an unfiltered mouth, that's not always a bad thing. And even with knowing all of that, even with giving the forgiveness and understanding for myself, I just could not let that shit go. Like, I just couldn't let it go. And I had no idea why. And I was just like, okay. Like, if I don't feel like going, there's a reason. We don't talk shit about each other. So, telling people your boundaries is respectful. Normally, with this person, I get talked over. And I didn't let them talk over me this time. I didn't care where we were, who we were with. I didn't wait until it was a one-on-one private conversation. And I just stood up. I was sitting down, but I stood up. And what I wasn't expecting was for that respect to be returned to me, spoken up about multiple times, to the point where I get so frustrated that my delivery be a little fresh. But the intention was there. Like, I don't want to have to stop showing up, so please respect me. And the respect hath been given. And now, that thing that I felt like I couldn't let go of, that was so heavy, has now shifted into what else can we create here? What things can we talk about that we couldn't talk about before? Now that you've removed the judgment from yourself, what stories can you tell me? How can you tell them differently? How can we laugh together this time? It's like when you know they love you so much, but in a toxic way, they're showing it in a toxic way. There's outside influences. It is just such a miracle when you can get someone to access this level of awareness, access this point of vulnerability, of purity, of forgiveness, to where the past can actually be released. It's not pretending or faking that everything is okay now. It's no, things actually did change. There actually have been shifts. Things actually go on behind the scenes. The things that you do and say do have an effect on the world and the people around you. The energy that you put out, the intention that you put out is all so important if you believe it to be, if you allow it to be. Oh my God. Like the pressure of showing up for someone in moments that they really need you. Showing up in the moments that they don't really need you, but it's like that would be super helpful. And doing so in the way that you would want to be treated, no matter how this individual has treated you, is so difficult. It is so difficult, but it is possible. It's possible for the journey not to be excruciating. Because no matter how far gone you think somebody is, that's still their soul. If they are kind of far gone, that means they're like in more than one realm. That means whatever you tell them has the opportunity to spread and shed light in the spiritual realm. If you're afraid of that, it's gonna stress you out. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to. But we're just talking about it. We're mentioning it. We're bringing it up. We're bringing awareness to it. So that when the time comes, you're emotionally prepared. You're mentally prepared. Spiritually prepared. Physically prepared, I don't think there's anything that will prepare you for the physical requirements of end of life. Just needing to be a caregiver of some sort, which we all do at some point, or we employ the people to do so. And either way, you got to know your stuff and you got to be connected to your humanity. In the moments of your grief, there is a special, you are connected through that little portal they just transcended through. You are connected to that. So it makes sense why right after someone passes, a lot of people experience the dreams of the loved one coming to say goodbye, some memories. different types of things, that is because your connection to the divine is strengthened at that time. And so you can either pour sorrow into it, which you can, is good, is healthy, but you can also pour love into it. You can pour anything you want into it, and it will return to you, transmuted, or if you want to say blessed. And that level of spiritual connection can be stable. It can be all the time if you allow the space for it. And I say allow the space for it because some people don't want you to access that space. You strive to show up in the best way possible for somebody. When you show up and strive for excellence within yourself, to reflect that into whatever connection, when it is time to grieve, when it is time to let go, you got all that out of the way already. You already did that. You already got it done, or you were trying, and so you don't have to be so tough. You don't have to be so strong. Because you already did that. You already did that. That was the whole process. The process was being strong and tough. When it is time to let go, that is, you just crack open like an egg. Y'all remember Eggbirds? That was a vibe. Sorry. Eggbirds, Humpty Dumpty. You know what's so funny is I was just thinking like damn, like death, a funeral, loss, letting go, like spring cleaning vibes, obviously. But I feel like there's someone really going through it right now. But I feel like being more specific would be being nosy. Sometimes when you give too many details, too many specificities, it's like, how would you know? How do you know that? And it's like, oh, can you read my mind? Oh my God, witchcraft, am I safe? And so I'm trying to avoid that. I'm trying to avoid that a little bit. Will it work? Will it not work? I don't know, but this reading will definitely help disrupt if any of that is going on. It's like I'm just so like picky about and so particular about such certain specific things that I know that it cannot be anything but divine. Like, if I'm feeling more inclined to talk about something, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it because there's a reason for that. Unless, and there's also a indicator for when it needs to be spoken and when it needs to just be in the brain. In the middle of healing from like medical abuse and stuff, I had a couple trips to California, and the last trip was so fucking surreal. Oh my god. Like, my body is hurting just thinking about the pull-out mattress. I felt kind of bad at first because I felt like sometimes I wasn't showing up fully for him because I was always like recording or editing or writing like a survival guide or trying to talk on the phone. And then I realized like it was normal for me to need a little bit more extra space, and that there was a balance. He started really engaging in the process more. Oh. He started to encourage me to focus more on making videos and go meet your spiritual friends and have a good time also, so that we can have a good time. And we did. During that trip, there was a time where I wanted to give up reading cards and like sharing my spirituality with the world. Because, I mean, that's what I was so used to. I felt so discouraged. I felt incompatible. Like I was incompatible with everything. I was still trying to learn how to navigate my disability, how to build a business that turned into a spiritual thing, but somehow it was always a spiritual thing. It just was gonna be so low key. Some of the videos that I was making when we were separated was so that he could watch them when he was in the hospital or in the hotel. When I really wanted to give up, I don't feel like I really told much people that I wanted to give up. And somehow he came back from the dollar store with these little like trinkets, all these notebooks. And he was like, don't ever stop doing this. And it was the fact that I that he actually would watch them, he actually enjoyed them, that he actually was able to have intelligent conversation about what I was talking about, and not always take it as an attack, but taking them as theories, as philosophy, being like, oh, you know what? That's true for me too, or whatever. And nobody believed as much as him. He was gifted that opportunity to be that person in my life, and he took it. I watched him specifically, but for the first time, I watched someone watch my video, and the emotional reactions, the physical reactions was so insane. It was so like trippy, but like it was so cool, you know? And I was used to it, but he was kind of freaking out. And people normally freak out a little bit, but that makes sense. And I was able to safely channel my first spirit. In the form of really taking on their personality, their energy, like not possession, but an energy vessel. You never let them take full control of you. You never grant them full access. There's a difference between letting a spirit control you and being a speaking tool or an interpreter for a spirit. The experiences that we had were just so intense and so magical. There was a point that he started to get better, and I was like, ooh, I'm a healer. I'm really a healer. And then once all of the energy was cleared, it turned into end of life. And I was like, oh, death doula, still kind of a healer. And I didn't know what to do after that, honestly. On his deathbed, his whole his whole thing was being grateful for me and standing up for me and speaking really kindly and well of me. And that surpasses his death. That continues on. That is forever. He is forever a part of the Kaipo Creations spirit team. Family to spirit team. They're given the option. They're given the option. You don't have to. You don't have to. Yeah, like if you die and you don't want to join someone's spirit team, you don't have to. I don't know, somebody really needed to hear that. Maybe I really needed to hear that. It's like if The only person that didn't make you feel crazy died. That was tough. Patience, resilience. And even though it was such like a short amount of time that felt like such a long time, it's like we made up for all of the years that, oh, I only showed up for spring break. Oh, I only showed up for Thanksgiving. We only talk when I show up during spring break or Thanksgiving. And at the same time, it's like you could look at that as, oh, that's all. Like, you guys could have been besties that whole time. But the fact that that was even permitted, that was even a possibility, that was always welcomed, that opened the gateway to me even being able to show up for his death. Because if you know him, you know that he would have tried to do it alone to not be a burden on everyone else. And maybe that made it more difficult to some people. But it was none less deserving.